Welcome to Save As Ability, a podcast to educate and inform you about disability employment issues. My name is David Darkangelo, and I'm your disability policy expert. Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Save As Ability. And we have a guest today, a great guest, Rob Kutner. Welcome in from the West Coast, Rob.
Well, it feels like virtually I could be on any coast, really.
It's great to have you. And, you know, as I was preparing for the show, going through your credits, you've got such great stories that you've been part of and comedy, writing that you've been part of, many things that viewers will probably recognize. Late Night with Conan O'Brien, The Daily Show, and even animated things. Ben 10, my daughter's a big fan of some of those shows as well. So maybe you can start by telling our audience a little bit about your background. And I definitely want to talk about the show that we really got together on a little bit a couple of weeks ago at the Laugh Factory about neurodiversity.
Great. Yeah. So I'm a comedy writer producer based in LA right now. I used to be in New York. And I've mostly written for late night shows, like you mentioned, The Daily Show, Conan, and then the past few years, I've been moving into animation and books, writing for Teen Titans and Ben 10 and developing my own shows, and then books for kids, books for adults, all over the place, keeping busy.
Well, Teen Titans Go, for those faithful viewers, they'll remember my daughter Isabella, who is neurodiverse, by the way, is on the spectrum, loves Teen Titans Go, and I've been able to watch some shows with her and stuff like that. So I didn't even know that you were a part of that. So it's great to now make that connection.
It's a great show to watch, like with the parent and kid together, for sure. It's something for everybody.
Yeah, it is. So, well, let's talk about the show. You just a couple of weeks ago had it at the Laugh Factory. I was very interested and intrigued, and I'm thankful to you and your colleagues for putting it together, bringing in neurodiversity into comedy. You know, comedy shows by their nature can be loud and raucous and, a smoke-filled room with people throwing jabs. Tell us a little bit how it went and, will there be more and what can we do to take part?
So many questions. I'll try to keep up with all of them. But so like basically, it's in a way, it's a very simple idea. It's just one that hadn't occurred to people before. But basically, my friend and colleague Mike Rotman, he and I have produced comedy shows together before. And we were just talking, and he mentioned that he has a relative who's an adult neurodiverse on the spectrum and loves to go to comedy shows. But, the thing about comedy shows is if you do or say anything that kind of stands out from the audience in terms of your behaviors, you might get kind of called out by the comedian. That can be a beloved, thing, hecklers or crowd work or whatever they call it. Sometimes a comedian will make a feast out of it. But if you're neurodivergent, that might be a behavior that was not intentional, and it might be something you don't want to have attention drawn to. You don't necessarily want to be the target of a comedian. And so what we did was we just basically put on a regular comedy show. Like, we didn't ask anyone to alter their act. We weren't like particularly looking for people talking about neurodivergence, although we did actually end up having two comics. We did speak about that. But the idea was it could be any regular comedy show, but with just an extra layer of thoughtfulness in terms of like informing the comics about what I just said, that people who are neurodivergent may have verbal outbursts. They may do what's called stimming, where they sort of physically do a motion to comfort themselves, or they may get overstimulated and want to get up and just take a breather from, as you said, all the noise and the lights and the smoke. Any of those behaviors might be fine and not even looked at a second time in a lot of live environments. But in the comedy environment, as I said, you're kind of under the magnifying glass sometimes because it's just how they work. And so what we did was we basically got a bunch of comedians that we knew that we could sort of trust, and we explained this and just said, like, someone does something that you don't expect from the audience, just like roll with it. Don't make a big deal out of it. If they want to play with them. If they don't, if they're just doing their own thing, just let it go. If you're at a comedy show and someone gets up and walks out, like you could get 15 minutes off of that. You're like, "Pal, where are you going? You want me to change the jokes?" You get this whole thing. And like, again, like that could be fun for someone if they're into it. But if it's someone who's already overwhelmed with things and wants to just take a few minutes breather, it might be like agony. So we just make comics aware of that in a way to sort of educate the broader world. We designated this sort of chill out space, as I was sort of talking about, the place you can escape to. We blocked off part of the venue so that it was away from the sound and people could go cool their heels. And also, we just sort of basically, you reminded the staff and everybody, like someone might come in with headphones. Sometimes if the noise is too loud, someone might wear headphones to kind of block the noise. Someone might, again, get up. People might want to change seats, that sort of stuff. Just basically, the vibe was just be cool with things. Be cool with things being not exactly as you expect. And that's it. We did it. The staff was super great. The Laugh Factory, everyone understood the comics were great. They got around along with the audience really well. And, you know, like I say, like to say, like when the lights went down, there was no neuro anything. It was just a bunch of people laughing their butts off in a room. And that was just beautiful.
And that's what we want. We want that parody. And it sounds like you were thoughtful with your considerations and the reasonable modifications. And really kudos to you and the organizers for putting it together, because it takes not only the performers, but it takes the staff of the venue. And, you know, there needs to be training there and sensibilities there to all of the various things going on. So I value you breaking barriers here and moving that forward. And maybe we can have more of these shows, whether it be LA or New York or Boston or around the country, because I definitely think that there are people who are neurodiverse out there who want to take part, but maybe they're fearful for some of the reasons you mentioned.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the points I keep hammering away at this, is that you said a few modifications. Like it is shockingly easy. Like this kind of sounds like it's a big deal, gimmicky kind of show, and what is striking is that how almost like 99.999% like any other comedy show it is. It's, as I said, like we didn't want to ask if any to do anything special other than blocking off that little chill space and just being sort of generally cool and just having a chat with the comics. Like this is a show that anyone could put on anywhere, anytime, you know, with just a little bit of conversation and thought.
Yeah, the entertainers that demand only green M&Ms in the green room or something, you know, that maybe it's not for them, but for others, yeah, I do think that that's a good thing. So, you know, it raises an interesting thing. I wanted to get your thoughts on this. I've heard Jerry Seinfeld speak on it. I've heard a number of luminaries in comedy speak on it. And I think there is a line there, right, where what is the nature of comedy? The nature of comedy is to make fun of like the human condition, right? So I think it's appropriate, like, to rationally build jokes in that include people of all abilities. That may be a piece of, now, I don't think you mock somebody's disability, but there is a way to be funny about it. We've seen it in shows. We've seen it when it's well done and well thought out. So talk to us a little bit as a writer, a little bit about how those considerations are made ahead of time and, you know, how the industry and writers think about that.
Yeah, that's a lot. I think, you know, the big difference is like you're talking about, like in scripted writing things, like there's a whole different level of considerations. Like then you get into things like representation and, you know, then we sort of get into problematic areas, I think, for the disabled or for those who are on the spectrum or neurodivergent is a sort of tendency to other, the way that we kind of other, you know, people, anyone who sort of has a sort of marginalization to them. This is characters who might just be like, you know, the sort of person that you feel sorry for, or who is incredibly brave, or has some kind of amazing, quote unquote, superpowers like Rain Man, kind of the sort of famous, infamous example of a, you know, person on the spectrum and, you know, I think personally as a writer, like I want to get away from those things because I think like, even though some of them are so well intentioned and they make the persons see so well in a way, like they sort of, I hate to say it, but sort of dehumanize because they sort of don't put the person with a difference, whether it's neurological or ability difference, on the same level as everybody else. Like I think the better thing to do is, like, for example, there's this movie Ricky Stenicki that came out recently by the Farrelly brothers.
Sure.
Farrelly brothers, great. They do the kind of representation I think we need, which is like they just like introduce people who are differently abled or different neurologically just as characters in the movie, and like that's not even part of the story at all. Like
it's just authentic. It's just part of it.
Yeah, there's a show Loudermilk too. If you've seen the show too, like there's a little person in it who's just like a very distinctive character for who he is and his personality, his background, and you know, everybody kind of makes fun of each other's foibles, and so like he does get a few small jokes in it, but like he gives as well as he gets, and so I think again, like representation, where like that's not the focus of it, like that's just another person in the company of the cast, you know, whatever.
That's what we want, Rob, and that's sophistication too, and that really I think comes out in the writing and it really makes things well done. And people like that stuff. There's a reason why those shows do well, and because I think they really resonate with people. So, well, Rob, we're just scratching the surface here. Tell us about some of your endeavors going on, and let our audience know. We'll put whatever websites you want in the chat, but let them know how you're helping to break down barriers here. We really appreciate what you're doing here at Save Visibility.
Well, I very much have plans to do another show like this. It might be local. We might be like looking at places abroad. I'll definitely let you and the world know about the next time we have something like official to announce. Got something I'm working on sort of behind the scenes in this realm, but I don't want to talk about it until it's official, or until someone takes an interest, but it's definitely taking interest. And then in a slightly different vein that I can just enter plug mode. Yeah, it's not about ability, but it's another sort of something with a values-driven piece of comedy I'm doing. It's a kids show called Gang. And what this is it's not my idea, but this entrepreneur from Israel had this idea for doing sort of a Power Rangers for kids, but where the four characters are all from the four major world religions. So Hindu, Muslim, Christian, and Jew. And they all like go around in a Scooby-Doo band kicking butt together, and they're all buddies, and they have like martial arts powers, and they have supernatural powers that come from their faith traditions. And it's not like a sort of Veggie Tales where it's like, hey, everybody, believe in God and read the Bible and be religious. It's about, hey, everybody, we can all get along with people that our cultures tell us we can't get along with. And in this case, it's religious division. So it's a really ambitious and I think important project. I think we can see for the world how desperately needed that is, overcoming divisions. And so, but it's so controversial because religious that studios won't necessarily touch it until they're sure there's an audience for it, because religion can be dicey. So we funded the pilot and we put it online, and we're building an online audience to show how much interest there is. And it's working. There's like 1.5 million YouTube subscribers, and the comments are nice. Get this, YouTube comments are nice about this. That never happens. So
excellent.
My way of saying is, if this sounds like a cool thing, it's very funny. I write it to be funny, as great like martial arts action, and it's a great thing for kids from 6 to 12. It's a great thing to watch with kids because it's culturally interesting for adults, like seeing like how the different people from different traditions get along, and it's just fun. But anyway, so if you feel like going to godsgang.com and checking out and giving us a like or subscribe, I sound like a 20-year-old influencer, but give us that like or subscribe. Like that's basically how we will vote. We get it up with those, it will show the studios and the streamers that like the world wants and needs this. So that's my little plug. That's also a good thing, and I think you'll enjoy it.
Excellent. Well, we're all about inclusion here at Save Visibility.
That's
so that sounds like inclusion 101 right there. We're all for inclusion of all different types of people in all different settings. So yeah, we'll put the link in the chat. Check that out.
Awesome. Great. Thanks.
All right. Well, we want to thank Rob Kutner for joining us here today and helping us. It's a little bit of our entertainment series. We've had Doug Rowland on, the Oscar-nominated director. We've had a couple of other people on. So we're going to continue this theme because we really believe that representation throughout all kinds of media is important to get people with disabilities into the dialogue here and represented well and authentically. So we appreciate you, Rob, for your efforts.
Very cool. Glad to be part of it. I think it's the next wave.
I think it is. I think you're right. Maybe we can collaborate on some endeavors here. So, all right, everybody. Well, thanks for joining us for another episode of Save Visibility. Please help us continue to keep great content flowing for you. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'm fired up as usual. It's David Darkangelo. Save Visibility. What'd you think of our new little sign over here? Let us know in the comments. Hope you're doing well. I hope you have a great day. For more information about disability employment issues, please visit our website, disabilityemploymentsolutions.com. The Save As Ability podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our YouTube channel at Disability Policy Expert, or wherever you stream your podcasts. Subscribe, stream, rate, and review our shows. Your ratings and reviews help our show reach new audiences. Produced by Pod Pro Entertainment. Save As Ability lives within a network of podcasts located at podproentertainment.com. #TheNewRadio. Again, my name is David Darkangelo, and I'm your disability policy expert. Until next time, thank you. I hope you have a great day.